Police officers of Reddit, what was your biggest plot twist in a case? One time a friend of mine was having a really hard time controlling a pregnant lady he pulled over in a traffic stop. She had multiple felony warrants. He was trying to handcuff her but didn't want to physically manhandle her because, of course, she's pregnant. So he calls in for backup and waits for them as she is punching and screaming at him trying to run away. She was a gangbanger and knew how to throw a punch or two. My friend just holds onto her arm the best he can while waiting for backup. Backup arrives around 2 to 3 minutes later and comes running over to them. Backup asked what's the problem and why he isn't taking her into custody more forcefully. My friend says because she is pregnant and I don't want the baby to get hurt. The woman's eyes open wide and in the maddest voice possible screams at him, "I am not pregnant, you CNT motherfucker." She was then thrown on the ground, handcuffed and arrested with addition charges added to her warrants. Turns out, she was just fat.
Your username is now a store. What do you sell? Oh no. I've got about 50% of it figured out so far. 2 fish. It's not a very successful store. Certainly not eggs. Very manly pants. Viagra.
I can't believe you've done this.
What's a joke that's so stupid it's funny? A blonde and a lawyer are seated next to each other on a flight from Los Angeles to New York. The lawyer asks if she would like to play a fun game. The blonde, tired, just wants to take a nap, so she politely declines and rolls over to the window to catch a few winks. The lawyer persists and explains that the game is easy and a lot of fun. He says, "I ask you a question, and if you don't know the answer, you pay me $5, and vice versa." Again, she declines and tries to get some sleep. The lawyer, now agitated, says, "Okay, if you don't know the answer, you pay me $5, and if I don't know the answer, I will pay you $500. This catches the blonde's attention and, figuring there will be no end to this torment, agrees to the game. The lawyer asks the first question. What's the distance from the Earth to the Moon? The blonde doesn't say a word, reaches into her purse, pulls out a $5 bill, and hands it to the lawyer. "Okay," says the lawyer, "your turn." She asks, what goes up a hill with 3 legs and comes down with 4 legs? The lawyer, puzzled, takes out his laptop computer and searches all his references. No answer. He taps into the airphone with his modem and searches the internet and the Library of Congress. No answer. Frustrated, he sends emails to all his friends and co-workers but to no avail. After an hour, he wakes the blonde and hands her $500. The blonde thanks him and turns back to get some more sleep. The lawyer, who is more than a little miffed, stirs the blonde and asks, "Well, what's the answer?" Without a word, the blonde reaches into her purse, hands the lawyer $5, and goes back to sleep.
What grossed you out so much in a relationship that you just left? I showered at his place after staying over and I asked for a towel. He gave me one which had literal skin flakes on. I asked for a clean one. He asked what I meant. He did not realize that you need to wash towels because they just have water on them so they clean themselves. I went away with my ex and saw his toothbrush for the first time. It had black mold growing on it and the bristles were so flat the toothbrush had a middle parting. I had a conversation with him about hygiene and told him to get a new toothbrush, but when I stayed at his house 2 weeks later the cursed toothbrush was still there, so I ended it. My ex would threaten slip and slide anytime things got tough in our relationship. Grossed me out enough that I just called it a day eventually. Cue the desperate calls hours later from the apparent OD. She's still alive and kicking somewhere though. He had berated me for something silly and he was still angry. When we got home, he wanted sex. I wanted to read. He pressured me. I still said no. He got angry and raised his fist to hit me. I just looked at him. He lowered his fist. I left. I haven't seen him since. It's been a decade. The swastika I found under her left tit. People who ran into the weird kid from school years later. How did he or she turn out? Ran into the kid who was effectively the school bully at the bank one day and I didn't even recognize him. He walked up to me holding his daughter and gave me a classic white guy. Well, goddamn it. How the hell are ya? And this is gonna sound crazy but he legit became the nicest guy in the world. Extremely well adjusted. Great family. Great career. He invited me to go out to the driving range the following Sunday and for whatever reason I was inclined to go. Wound up hitting golf balls and smoking with him for most of the day and had a heart-to-heart. Turns out he was terribly mistreated his entire life and his father punished him by forcing him to stay awake all night. He was petrified to go home so he did whatever he could to get detention. Explains a lot. Never judge someone until you've walked a mile in their shoes.
But I seen a side to him I only hear rumors about. I've never seen an ounce of violence in him in 7 years. So we were out having a fun at a movie then drinking, when some guys started talking to my BF and getting aggressive. He kept smiling laughing and asking them to just go on with their night but the main guy he was talking to kept saying I don't like you and you look like you think you're tough. This went for about 10 minutes. When my BF went for a smoke, I went with him. The 3 guys followed and started insulting him. He ignored them until one guy asked if I wanted to be FKT by a real man. Suddenly my BF said in a way I never heard him talk before, "Shut your mouth or I'll rip your goddamn jaw off." I was shocked. Suddenly one of them pushed him. Next thing I know, they were all moving around and it was a big mess. It was all over in less than a minute. 2 guys were down and my BF had the guy who said it pinned, strangling him. Not choking, full on strangling. When I called him, he looked back at me and I saw someone else I'd never seen before. It sent chills down my spine and scared me to my core. He immediately stopped upon seeing me and asked if I was okay. I didn't know what to say. I just asked if we could go home and he said of course. We left to go home and now I don't know what to feel. I never seen him like that before. It was like looking at a monster. I never thought he could do something like that. I know he'd never hurt me, but I'll always be scared of what I saw. What should I say? Should I tell him how I feel? Edit. After reading your comments, you're right, I shouldn't be scared of him and he did what he had to do, but I am a coward and wanted to leave the moment they approached him. I don't do well with any type of confrontation. I am a very small woman while my BF is a large man. I should have done something, but I didn't even have time to react before it was over. He was protecting me and I am very grateful for it. I should have clarified I came from a violent household and have a different point of view than others. It doesn't make me right, but I am more anxious because of it. Thank you for your comments, positive and negative. It helped me to see that I can be too naive about the world and we couldn't have walked away peacefully. Comment your thoughts below and like for more similar content.